We are counting down the 5 U.S. cities where the next foreclosure crisis is just beginning. From Sunbelt boomtowns buckling under hidden costs to metros facing investor retreats and tech-driven equity wipeouts, each city on this list reveals a new failure point in the market's brutal reckoning. Which location faces the most severe storm? Let us begin with number 5. In Cape Coral, Florida, the math is starting to break down for thousands of homeowners. It is not just about mortgage payments anymore. The real pressure is coming from soaring insurance premiums and rising HOA fees, costs that cannot be refinanced away or delayed. By 2025, the average annual insurance bill for a typical home in Cape Coral sits between $7,000 and $11,000, with some policies climbing even higher after hurricane season. For many, that is more than double what they paid just 3 years earlier. Layer on property taxes and the new wave of HOA dues, up 12 to 28% since 2024 in some master-planned communities, and the monthly budget starts to unravel. Foreclosure filings in Lee County reached 1 in every 189 homes in 2025, one of the highest rates in the country. Local analysts warn that number could rise as insurance carriers continue to pull out and remaining companies file for new rate hikes. Homeowners on fixed incomes, and those who bought at the top of the market, are especially exposed. Some are skipping insurance altogether, risking force-placed policies that can double or triple their costs overnight. Others are forced to list their homes, hoping to sell before the next premium notice arrives. The promise of paradise is colliding with the reality of runaway carrying costs. In Cape Coral, a growing share of defaults is not about over-leveraged buyers or risky loans. It is about the slow squeeze of bills that just will not quit. As these pressures mount, more homes are heading back to the banks, fueling the first visible wave in the coming foreclosure storm. By 2026, nearly 15% of single-family homes in Maricopa County are held by large institutional landlords, firms that once promised stability but now move in lockstep when profits slip. As rents fall, and they are down 5% since 2024, the math behind these portfolios no longer works. Properties once snapped up at a premium are now liabilities, and the sell-off begins. Fix and flip activity, which fueled much of Phoenix's rapid price growth, has dropped 25% year over year. The same companies that once crowded courthouse steps for auction deals now line up to offload homes in bulk, flooding local listings. The result is not just a handful of empty houses, it is a chain reaction. As investors liquidate, prices weaken further, leaving recent buyers, many with minimal equity, stranded. Neighborhoods that once saw bidding wars now face rising notices of default, as both landlords and homeowners struggle to cover payments on depreciating assets. Unlike the slow squeeze of bills in Cape Coral, Phoenix is experiencing a rapid unwinding at the market level. The city's heavy reliance on investor ownership has turned from a safety net into a trapdoor, exposing how quickly confidence can turn to retreat when the numbers no longer add up. The fallout here is not just about individual hardship. It is about what happens when the very foundation of demand collapses all at once. Austin, Texas, once known for its runaway tech boom and surging home prices, is now grappling with the aftermath of that surge. In 2026, the city's housing market is defined by a sharp reversal. Prices have dropped nearly 19% from their 2022 peak, according to CoreLogic indices. For thousands who bought homes during the frenzy, often with just 3% down, the promise of easy equity has vanished. Roughly 11% of buyers from the 2021 and 2022 cohorts now owe more than their homes are worth. These are not speculative investors, but families and young professionals who moved to Austin for tech jobs and bet on continued growth. When the layoffs began, 7,500 tech workers were let go in 2026 alone, and the safety net of rapid appreciation disappeared. With little or no equity, owners facing job loss have no cushion. Selling means taking a loss they cannot cover, and refinancing is not an option, with rates hovering near 6%. The effect ripples through neighborhoods built on optimism. For many, the mortgage is not the only problem. It is the sense of being trapped, unable to move for work or downsize without writing a check at closing. Default notices are rising, not from reckless lending, but from the collision of falling prices and sudden unemployment. In Austin, the reckoning is personal. Equity, once seen as a guarantee, has become a liability, pushing more owners toward default as the tech engine that fueled the city's rise sputters to a halt. Las Vegas, Nevada, has always been the city where housing cycles move fast, sometimes too fast for homeowners to react. In 2026, the pace of distress here is setting the tone for what a true momentum crash looks like. Clark County now reports one foreclosure filing for every 205 homes, a rate that places Las Vegas near the top of the nation's largest metros. Over the past year, filings have jumped by more than 30%, and the trend is accelerating. What makes Las Vegas different is the speed at which financial trouble turns into an auction. Nevada's non-judicial foreclosure process allows banks to move a property from the first missed payment to public sale in as little as 110 days. There is no waiting for a court date or months of paperwork, just a notice, a countdown, and then the property changes hands. For families living paycheck to paycheck on tourism wages, there is little time to recover from a missed payment or unexpected expense. The process moves quickly, and so do the consequences. The city's history as a boom and bust market means that when defaults rise, they tend to cluster. Neighborhoods that barely saw a foreclosure last year now have multiple homes posted for auction. As more properties hit the market, prices soften further, and the cycle feeds on itself. What starts as a few missed payments can spiral into a flood of inventory as banks reclaim homes faster than buyers can step in. In Las Vegas, the velocity of the process is not just a technical detail. It is the engine behind a rapidly widening wave, with each new filing pushing the market closer to another tipping point. Stockton, California stands at the crossroads of risk, where the pressure of negative equity collides with a fragile commuter economy. In 2026, the story unfolding here is different from the Sunbelt's insurance crises and the fast-moving investor exits of Phoenix. Stockton's threat is quieter, but deeper, a slow-motion unraveling as thousands of households find themselves trapped between falling home values and paychecks tied to distant job markets. Roughly 12% of homeowners in San Joaquin County now owe more on their mortgages than their properties are worth, more than double the national average. For many, the dream of affordable homeownership meant stretching finances to the limit, buying with minimal down payments, and accepting a 2-hour commute to the Bay Area. That gamble worked as long as tech salaries flowed and property values climbed. Now, with the Bay Area job market cooling and remote work opportunities shrinking, the safety net has vanished. 60% of Stockton's homeowners rely on jobs outside the local economy, a vulnerability that becomes clear as layoffs ripple through the region. When a commuter loses work, selling is not a way out, because underwater mortgages mean walking away can be the only option. Foreclosure starts in San Joaquin County have risen 18% year over year, pushing Stockton to the top tier of California's distress markets. Here, the risk is not just about individual hardship, it is a systemic problem. The combination of high negative equity and external job dependence creates a feedback loop, threatening to pull down entire neighborhoods if conditions worsen. In Stockton, the canary in the commuter coal mine is already gasping for air. Across all 5 cities, one pattern stands out. Today the risk is not just falling prices, it is rising costs, lost equity, and vanishing safety nets. The crash arrives where financial pressure meets false security. The next shock to the housing market is not distant. It is already reshaping how Americans live and lose their homes.